Hello and good morning friends, welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, with our ongoing series on microeconomics, today we would be talking on comparison of price and output determination under perfect competition, monopoly and monopolistic competition. And for this discussion, we have once again with us in our studios Dr. Kamlesh Ghakkar. Dr. Kamlesh Ghakkar is a professor in Indian Institute of Management Research, Management Studies and Research. Dear friends, we would like to tell you all that Dr. Kamlesh Ghakkar has immense experience. She has authored numerous books. Lots of students are pursuing their PhD under her able guidance. She has written various research papers for both national and international journals. So let's welcome our guest Dr. Kamlesh Ghakkar and let's try to understand more and more on the topic. Hello ma'am, welcome to the UGC lecture.
Hello. Thank you. Dear viewers, today in this lecture I am going to tell you about how the price and output determination differs under monopoly, perfect competition and monopolistic competition. So firstly, we are going to see how the price and output differs under monopoly and perfect competition. We know that equilibrium is at the point where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue and marginal cost cuts marginal revenue from below. This is the similarity between perfect competition and monopoly. We know under perfect competition there are a large number of sellers and large number of buyers selling a homogeneous product, and under monopoly there is only one seller. There are various points of difference regarding the price and output determination under these markets. These are: number one is equality between price and marginal cost. Under perfect competition, AR and MR are equal to each other at all levels of output. You know that under perfect competition, demand curve facing a firm is perfectly elastic and it is the average revenue which is parallel to x-axis and marginal revenue is equal to it, and this price is actually determined by the industry by the intersection of demand and supply. So when AR and MR are equal and equilibrium is where marginal cost cuts marginal revenue, so naturally at the equilibrium output we see that price is equal to marginal cost as well as it is equal to marginal revenue. But in case of monopoly, the demand curve is not a straight line, it is not parallel to x-axis. Rather, the demand curve faced by the monopolist is a downward sloping curve. So when AR is falling, MR is below it. So MR will be less than AR at all levels of output. So with the equality of marginal cost and marginal revenue, whatever price is determined, it is more than the marginal cost. So thus we see that under perfect competition, price is equal to the marginal cost, while under monopoly, price is greater than marginal cost. Then shape of the marginal cost is also to be seen while we are talking of the equilibrium price and output under perfect competition and monopoly. In the case of perfect competition, equilibrium is possible only when the marginal cost is rising or when the industry is working under increasing cost conditions, because here AR and MR is a straight line. So we need only rising cost so that MC cuts MR from below, which is the second order condition for equilibrium. But in case of monopoly, equilibrium is possible whether marginal cost is rising, whether marginal cost is constant or whether it is declining, because in this case average revenue is falling and average marginal revenue is below it. So equilibrium will be possible in all the three cases of rising, falling and constant marginal cost. While under perfect competition, we cannot have equilibrium when the marginal cost is falling or when marginal cost is constant. Only rising marginal cost is necessary for equilibrium under perfect competition. We can show the equilibrium under different cost conditions in monopoly. So, in figure 1, we have shown the increasing cost conditions case. On x axis, we have taken output. On y axis, we have shown price, cost and revenue. Average revenue is falling, average marginal revenue is below it, and AC is rising, MC is above it. Whenever cost is rising, average cost is there and marginal cost will be above it. Now, the equilibrium is MC is equal to MR. This is at point E. From here we see the output produced is OM and price is equal to AR. So, this is OP or MN. This is the price and profit is AR minus AC. So, here AR is MN and AC is MR. So, profit per unit is PQ. So, total profit is P, Q, R and N. Supernormal profits for the firm under monopoly, and we have shown the rising cost conditions. In this second figure, we have shown constant cost conditions. In this case, average cost remains constant. So, here average cost is equal to marginal cost and output is shown on x axis. On y axis, we are showing price, cost and revenue. You know AR curve is the demand curve. Here it is DD1 AR curve and MR curve is below it. Equilibrium is where MC is equal to MR and MC cuts MR from below. It is at point R. Output produced is OM, price will be OP or MN and PN RQ are the profits accruing to the monopolist. And the third case we have shown, that is of the decreasing cost conditions. In this, as the scale of operation is increased, as the size of firm is increased, per unit cost goes on declining due to the economies of scale. So, in figure 3, we have shown decreasing cost conditions. Output is there on x axis and on y axis. Again we have shown price, cost and revenue. AR curve is falling, MR is below it, AC is also declining and MC is below it. Equilibrium condition, MC is equal to MR and you see here again MC is cutting it from below. So, E is the point of equilibrium. OM is the output produced, price is equal to AR, that is MN or OP. So, P, Q, R and N are the profits accruing to the monopolist. So, thus we have shown that in monopoly equilibrium is possible whether marginal cost is declining, whether marginal cost is constant or whether marginal cost is rising, and equilibrium price and output was achieved. Another difference is the regarding size of the firm. Under perfect competition, in the long run, a firm is of optimum size, while under monopoly, firm is of suboptimal size. So, how can we say that firm is of optimum size? Because the equilibrium point is at the minimum of long run average cost, or the per unit cost of production is minimum. So, that output is being done which is utilizing the maximum capacity of the plant. So, that is why we say that under perfect competition every firm will be of the optimum size because the equilibrium is at minimum of LAC. While in case of monopoly, it is not at the minimum of LAC, rather it is less than minimum of LAC. So, per unit cost is not minimum, it can be decreased by increasing the production, but monopolist is not producing up to the maximum capacity of the production, or we can say it is not always essential that the size will be optimum. Generally it is of suboptimal size. Then we talk of the profits in the long run. So far as the perfect competition is concerned, we know that there are a large number of firms, entry and exit is free. So if under the short period firms are getting supernormal profits, so many firms would enter the industry attracted by these profits. So this would lead to increase in supply, and you know, whenever supply rises, price falls. So due to fall in price, these profits will be wiped out and there would be only and only normal profits for a firm under perfect competition. But so far as the monopoly market is concerned, here there are strong barriers to entry. Monopolist has no rival, so if he is getting supernormal profits in the short run, they will remain there in the long run also, because he is not to be afraid of any new competitor, no new firm will come. So the monopolist will be earning supernormal profits in the long run, while a perfectly competitive firm will be only having normal profits. Now, what is the difference regarding the price and the output produced? Under monopoly, price is higher and output is smaller than what it is in the case of perfect competition. In case of perfect competition, price is less, and in case of monopoly, price we find will be higher and output will be less under monopoly. This we can show in the diagram also. Under monopoly, equilibrium is by marginal cost and marginal revenue equality, while under perfect competition, price is determined by the intersection of demand and supply. So we will see this in figure 4. Here DD is the demand curve and S is the supply curve. Supposing firstly we are talking of perfect competition. Output is shown on x-axis and on y-axis we are showing price, cost and revenue. So in the perfect competition where demand and supply intersect, that is the point E. So OM output is produced by the firm under perfect competition and price is equal to OP. This is in case of perfect competition. Now supposing all the firms join together and form a monopoly. Now price is not determined by the intersection of demand and supply. The monopolist will see the intersection or equality between marginal cost and marginal revenue. So we draw the marginal revenue curve corresponding to the demand curve. Now we see, and this supply curve which was for perfect competition, this is the marginal cost curve under monopoly. So MC and MR are now equal at point F, and what do you see here? If you see at the point F, output produced is OM1, while under perfect competition it was OM. So what do you find? That output is less in case of monopoly as compared to the perfect competition. And so now here you can see what is the price. At this, output price is equal to AR. So, this is M1G or OP1 price is charged by the monopolist, while under perfect competition price is OP. So, we have seen in this diagram that price is more in case of monopoly and output is less in case of monopoly as compared to the perfect competition. Another difference is that regarding whether price discrimination is possible or not, we have already covered the topic of price discrimination, which means that the seller is charging different prices for different from different customers, or sometimes even different prices for different units of a commodity from the same customer. So, this is possible only in case of monopoly. Under perfect competition, there is no price discrimination. There is only one price being charged from all the customers. But under monopoly, if there is difference in the elasticity of demand in different markets, and markets are so far away from each other that the product cannot be transferred from one market to another, as well as the unit of demand also cannot be transferred from one market to another. So, in that case, seller will resort to price discrimination. He will charge different prices from different customers to increase his revenue and increase his profits. And so far as the allocation of resources is concerned, we know that under perfect competition, consumer surplus and producer surplus, that is maximum, and summation of both these actually tells us what is the social welfare, that is maximum under perfect competition. But under monopoly, there is a misallocation of resources, and this leads to loss of social welfare, because we have seen that price is more than marginal cost, output is less than the optimum output. So, that leads to misallocation of resources. While more can be produced, less price can be charged, and consumer surplus can be increased instead of being in monopoly. In perfect competition, consumer is having the highest surplus, which is removed when there is a monopoly and there is a deadweight loss. So, we can say there is misallocation of resources under monopoly, which is not there in case of perfect competition. Now, we will see how we can compare the price and output determination under perfect competition and monopolistic competition. Now, under monopolistic competition, there are many firms, there is free entry and exit of the firms, but the firms are producing differentiated products which are close substitutes of each other. So, we will see what is the difference between these two markets. Relationship between price and marginal cost. Here also we again will find that price is greater than marginal cost in case of monopolistic competition, while price is equal to marginal cost in case of perfect competition. Under monopolistic competition, average revenue is falling, MR is below it. So, naturally at all equilibrium levels, price will be greater than the marginal cost of production. This can be shown in the figure also. In figure 5, we have shown output on x-axis, and on y-axis we have shown price, cost and revenue. Average revenue is falling in case of monopolistic competition, because he can attract customers by reducing the price of the commodity, and MR is falling also. MR is below AR, and we see where is the LMC cutting marginal revenue at point E, and here you see that OM1 output is produced and price is OP. Price is OP while marginal cost is M1E. So here price is greater than the marginal cost of production. This price can be equal to marginal cost only at the point G. If the equilibrium would have been at G, where output produced is OM2 and here price is equal to the marginal cost of production. But at this output, what do you see? That here average cost is greater than the average revenue. So the monopolistically competitive firm will not go to this point. Equilibrium would be only at where the output produced is OM1 and price is greater than the marginal cost. Now, regarding the size of the firm, a firm under perfect competition in the long run is of optimum size as equilibrium output is at minimum of LAC. Monopolistically competitive firm is of less than optimum size in the long run as equilibrium is established at falling part of LAC. Just now you have seen that equilibrium is at the falling part of LAC. At point F, LAC is falling. It is not the minimum. It is minimum afterwards. So you can say that the firm is not of the optimum size. It is of less than optimum size because the firms are producing differentiated products to meet the demands of people. Existence of excess capacity. Excess capacity is there when a firm can produce more and can reduce the per unit cost of production, but it is producing less, or it is not producing at the minimum of LAC, it is producing at the falling portion of LAC. Then naturally there is a excess capacity. It can produce more if production is at the minimum of LAC, but it is less than that. So that leads to the excess capacity which is there under monopolistic competition. In case of perfect competition, there is no excess capacity because production is at the minimum of LAC in the long run. Price under monopolistic competition is greater than the competitive price. Firms under monopolistic competition get only normal profits in the long run as under perfect competition, but they charge higher price due to the presence of element of monopoly under monopolistic competition. No doubt firms earn normal profits under perfect competition as well as under monopolistic competition, but the price charged under monopolistic competition is greater because every firm has some element of monopoly. Because of its differentiated product, it knows that it can charge more and the customers who are habitual of using that commodity will go on buying that commodity. So it has some control over the price of the commodity because of the patent rights. No new seller or no new firm can have the product by the name which is already there in the existence. So due to the element of monopoly, price is greater in case of monopolistic competition. Now we should also know whether there are any wastes of competition or not. In case of perfect competition, we know that social welfare is maximum. Producer and consumer are getting the maximum surplus, but in case of monopolistic competition, there is a loss of consumers surplus because there is excess capacity as well as there is a lot of advertisement cost being done under monopolistic competition. So this waste is there under monopolistic competition which is not there under perfect competition. So this was about the comparison of the different market structures regarding the price and output determination under equilibrium. Thank you. Dear viewers, in this lecture I am going to tell you about models of non-collusive oligopoly. Dear students, oligopoly is a market in which there are a few sellers, generally from 2 to 10. If there are only 2 sellers, we call it duopoly. If the firms are producing homogeneous product, this is an example of pure oligopoly, but the product may be differentiated also. In this market, there is interdependence among the firms, because if one firm takes any decision regarding price and output, others are going to react. And advertisement cost is very important in this type of the market because of the intensive competition among the various firms to sell their products. So because of now interdependence among the firms, it is very difficult to find out what will be the demand curve facing a firm under oligopoly. And if we don't know the demand curve, we cannot derive marginal revenue curve. We know that for equilibrium we need marginal revenue and marginal cost curve. So it is very difficult to find out the equilibrium under oligopoly because of the indeterminateness of demand curve. So there are different approaches, or the economists thought of different solutions regarding the price and output determination. Some economists think that the firms ignore interdependence and they act independently, and these models are called models of non-collusive oligopoly. And some say that firms recognize the interdependence and they join together, form cartels, and these models are called models of collusive oligopoly. Or in another approach, one firm sets the price and others follow it. That is the case of price leadership. And now we are going to discuss the non-collusive models of oligopoly given by Cournot and Bertrand. Cournot's duopoly model. The French economist and mathematician Antoine Augustin Cournot introduced the first formal model of oligopoly in 1838. The firms act independently and have imperfect information about their rivals, so each firm must choose its output level before knowing what other firms will choose. Equilibrium in the market lasts for only one period. This model is based on certain assumptions. One is there are two firms and no other firm can enter the market. The firms have identical costs, they are selling identical product, and the firms set their quantities simultaneously. In Cournot's original model, each of the two firms owns a spring of mineral water and their production of mineral water involves no cost. This implies that both average and marginal cost are zero. Two firms sell their product in a market where they face a linear demand curve. Each firm expects its competitor not to change its output and determines its own output to maximize profits. The two firms adjust their outputs and not prices. Now we will show this in the figure 1. We know that there are two firms and the marginal cost and average cost is 0 because the mineral water is free of cost. So what you see here, that DD1 is the linear demand curve and MR is the corresponding marginal revenue curve according to DD1. We have shown output on x-axis and price, cost and revenue on y-axis. Supposing the firm A or the producer A firstly enters into business and he will see to it that marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue, because marginal cost is 0 and marginal revenue is 0 at output OM, which is half of the total market demand OD1, and at this output you see elasticity of demand is equal to 1. We already know that when elasticity is equal to 1, marginal revenue is 0. So the firm A will produce OM units of output and he will charge the price OP. So OP price is the monopoly price and OM is the monopoly output. Now both the firms are thinking that the other will not change the output. Now the B enters into business. B thinks that A will go on producing OM units of the output, so he takes into account the remaining demand. Remaining demand is MD1 or the demand curve is CD1, and accordingly there will be new MR for him. He will produce half of the remaining market and this is MN, and half of the remaining market will actually become 1/4 because half of the half is 1/4. Now the firm B is supplying MN units of the output. So total output will be OM by A and MN by firm B, and now the price will come down from OP to OP1. Now again A will think that B will go on producing MN units of the commodity, but he can change the output. So now he will see what is the left out demand. Out of the total he will deduct MN, or you can say the remaining part will be 1 minus 1 upon 4 will be 3 upon 4. So he will produce half of that, that will be 3 by 8. Then next B will react and he will supply half of the output of the total demand which is not produced by A. So A and B will go on changing their output and on keeping in mind that other is not going to change. So how this will go on, this is shown here. What will be the product of the firm A in successive periods? In period 1, he produces 1/2 or half of the total demand. In period 2, when he will see what is being produced by B and he will be producing 1/2 of the remaining. So that will be 1/2 bracket start, that will be 1 minus 1/4, that is the production being done by B, minus this is production done by B deducted from the total demand. 1 minus 1/4 will be 3/4, and if you multiply it by 1/2, this will be 3/8, or it becomes 1/2 minus 1/8. In the period 3, A will produce half of 1 minus 5/16. 5/16 is the output being done by B. So now it will become 11/32. This is equal to 1/2 minus 1/8 minus 1/32. In period 4, A will produce 1/2 of 1 minus 21/64. This will become equal to 43/128, or this is equal to 1/2 minus 1/8 minus 1/32 minus 1/28. And we observe that A's output declines gradually. Product of A in the equilibrium goes on declining as 1/2 minus 1/8 minus 1/32 minus 1/28, and this further can be expressed as 1/2 minus 1/8 plus 1/8 into 1/4 plus 1/8 into 1/4 whole square plus 1/8 into 1/4 whole cube, and this has become geometric progression with ratio 1/4, because you find here 1/4, 1/4 square, 1/4 cube, and this will go on. In case of geometric progression, we know that integral or summation is equal to A upon 1 minus R. So it will be product of A in equilibrium is equal to 1/2 minus 1/8 is the A, and 1 minus R. R is 1/4. So this will be equal to 1/2 minus 1/8, and 1 minus 1/4 will be 3/4. So what you find here, 1/2 minus 4 over 24, this will be 8/24 or 1/3. So in equilibrium, A will produce 1/3 of the total output. Now we see what will be the production done by B. The product of firm B in successive period is period 1, 1/2 into 1/2, because 1 minus 1/2 is 1/2. So 1/4 will be the output produced by firm B in period 1. In the second period, it will produce 1/2 of 1 minus 3/8. 3/8 is the production by A. So it will be 5/16. This becomes equal to 1/4 plus 1/16. In period 3, 1/2 multiplied by 1 minus 11/32. 11/32 was the production done by A. So in period 3 B will produce 21 upon 64th of the total market, or this is equal to 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 16 plus 1 upon 64. In period 4 it will be 1 upon 2 multiplied by 1 minus 43 upon 128. This would become equal to 85 upon 256. This is equal to 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 16 plus 1 upon 64 plus 1 upon 256. B's output increases but at a declining rate. A's output went on declining and B's output went on increasing but at a declining rate. Now what will be the product of B in equilibrium? That will be 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 4 into 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 4 into 1 upon 4 whole square plus 1 upon 4 into 1 upon 4 cube. Again this shows a geometric progression series. So product of B in equilibrium will be 1 upon 4 is A upon 1 minus 1 upon 4. R is also 1 upon 4. So what you get? This is equal to 1 upon 4 into 4 upon 3 is equal to 1 upon 3. So both the firms will be producing 1/3 of the output and a stable equilibrium will be reached. So what we see here, that if there are two firms, then each firm will produce 1 upon n plus 1. 1 upon 2 plus 1 is equal to 1 upon 3. So both the two firms will be producing 1/3 of the market each, and the total will become 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 3 is equal to 2 upon 3. So the formula will be that if there are n number of firms, each firm will produce 1 upon n plus 1th of the output of the market, and the total output will be n into 1 upon n plus 1. So this way you can find out what will be the output produced by each firm and what will be the total output being produced. So according to Cournot, there will be a stable equilibrium of the output. Here the output is changed by the firms, but at the equilibrium level both are producing the same output, and this output is less than the output under perfect competition. And here it will be, as it is also known as Nash equilibrium, because no firm will gain after this by changing the output. This can also be shown in the form of reaction curves. Lm is the reaction curve of A, Tn is the reaction curve of B. On x-axis we have shown A's output, on y-axis we have shown B's output. So both the reaction curves are intersecting at E. Actually this is the equilibrium output which is to be done by the firm A and firm B. OA3 output to be done by A and OB3 by the firm B. Now we take some other point. Supposing in the beginning A produces O1 output, then you see here what will be the reaction of B. In response to it, the B firm will produce OB1, and now we will see what will be the reaction of A. So we will take it to the A's reaction curve. So A will produce now OA2 instead of OA3, and at this output we will see what is the B's reaction. So B will produce OB2, and at B's output A's reaction will be now A3, and B's reaction will be at A3 will be B3. So ultimately we reach at the equilibrium E. we can start from anywhere and you will find that the stable equilibrium is reached where the reaction curves of both A and B firm intersect each other. Now we will see another model, that is Bertrand's duopoly model. In 1883, the French mathematician Joseph Bertrand argued that oligopolists set prices and then consumers decide how many units to buy. The resulting Nash equilibrium is called a Bertrand equilibrium or Nash-Bertrand equilibrium or Nash in prices equilibrium, a set of prices such that no firm can obtain a higher profit by choosing a different price if other firms continue to charge these prices. Now, according to Bertrand, there was no limit to the fall in price since each producer can always lower the price by undercutting the other and increasing its supply of output until the price becomes equal to his unit cost of production. Bertrand's model is different from Cournot's model. In Bertrand's model, the producers first set the price of the commodity and then produce the output demanded at that price. Each producer believes that his rival will keep on charging the same price while he changes the price. Thus, in Bertrand's model, the adjusting variable is price and not the output. So, here also we take that products provided and sold by the firms are identical. There are two producers having identical costs and they are working under condition of constant marginal cost. Productive capacity of the firm is unlimited. Now suppose there are only two firms and they are facing the demand curve DD1. Now we will show this how the equilibrium price is reached. On x-axis we are showing the output, on y-axis we are showing the price, DD1 is the demand curve, and now supposing firm A firstly enters into business. Average cost is equal to marginal cost because it has been assumed here that there is a constant cost. Now equilibrium is again where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So this is at this point where OM output is produced by the firm. It is the monopoly output and monopoly price is OPM. Now the firm B thinks that A will go on charging the price OPM, and it thinks that if it reduces the price, it can attract all the customers, it can sell more, it can have more profits. So B reduces the price or charges less than OPM, and all the buyers start buying from the firm B and A's sales are reduced to 0. Now it is the turn of A to react. When he finds that all the buyers have gone to B, he also thinks that if he reduces the price, B is not going to reduce the price. So he also reduces the price or charges less than what is being charged by B. Now he will get all the customers and buyers will start buying from A. So this price war will keep on going till the price falls to the level of CEC-UGC, where it is just equal to the average cost of production. Because now after this, if any firm reduces the price, it will not be covering the average cost of production, it will be the loser, so it will close down. So here we see that under Bertrand's model, it is the price which is to be varied, and both the firms are of the opinion that they can go on changing the price, but the rival will not change his price, and they don't learn from the past experience. They go on acting and reacting on each other's price. So you, even in real life, you have seen that supposing there are two firms in an industry, if one firm reduces the price, the others also reduce the price. This has been seen even in case of the charges of mobile phones, or you can think of the cold drinks, that if these Pepsi and Coca-Cola, they are close substitutes. If the firm Pepsi reduces the price one day, you will find that the other day the Coca-Cola will also reduce the price. So we see that these type of the price wars are going on in real life because of the competition. But if they realize that they are going to lose, then they can join also. This we will be doing in the other lectures when we talk of the collusive models of oligopoly. So what you have seen in the Bertrand's model, equilibrium is achieved when, as a result of price war, market price has fallen to the average cost of production, and the combined equilibrium output of the two firms is equal to the competitive output. According to Cournot's model, equilibrium output is less than the purely competitive output, and therefore price is higher than the competitive price. But according to Bertrand's model, output and price under duopoly are equal to those under perfect competition. So dear students, we have seen how there is non-collusion among the firms, that they are acting independently, they are thinking that they can change the output or they can change the price, but others are not going to follow, and in this way they can be the loser also, that they will not be able to charge as much price as they want. And we have seen that under Cournot's model there is a stable equilibrium, that each firm produces the n upon n 1 upon n plus 1 of the total market size, and that is the stable equilibrium, and but that output is not the perfectly competitive output. But in case of Bertrand's model, the variable was the price, that each firm can change the price while thinking that the other rival will keep on charging the same price. So Nash equilibrium is achieved where price becomes to the average cost of production. So these price wars are quite common, but they can continue only up to the point where price is just equal to the average cost of production. In the real life, you can find such examples of price wars. So that is why in the next lecture we will see how these firms join together and they set the price and output. Thank you.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a very, very precious session today, and we have discussed a lot. Ma'am, when we talk about the monopolistic markets, or monopolistic competition, what basically we mean by the particular competition?
Okay. In case of monopolistic competition, there are many buyers as well as there are many sellers, and these sellers are selling the differentiated products. Just as example, you see there are different varieties of shampoos, different varieties of toothpaste, different varieties of bathing soaps. So naturally each firm has some control over that product. Supposing a firm is producing Lux, no other firm can produce the bathing soap named Lux. So the people who get used to using this product will go on buying this. So the seller can charge even a high price for that, knowing that some people will definitely buy its product. But if he keeps the price very high, then naturally he would be losing some customers also, because then we shift to some other product if the price becomes very high. So that is the example of monopolistic competition, and you find this is actually in the real life, and you know that advertisement cost is essential in it. You find that there are advertisements in every program you see in TV, in newspapers, in magazines. So actually this is the real life market situation. And so far as oligopoly is concerned, in this the difference is that the sellers are not more, they can be from 2 to 10. So there is much competition. Just like we can say that there is oligopoly in cold drinks market. Here the main competitors are Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and you must have seen the wars between them. Supposing if new advertisement is done by the Pepsi, just next day you find that the new advertisement is being done by the Coca-Cola also. So these actions and reactions are taking place. If one firm reduces the price a little, we'll find that the others are also doing that. Just now we have seen that Reliance is selling this Jio internet at a free cost. So the other service providers are also doing this. So this price war you see in the real life market situation.
Definitely.
So this is the real market situation, whether it is monopolistic competition or oligopoly.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much. Dear friends, if you want to give a feedback for this particular lecture, then mail us at info.cc@nic.in. We would be meeting again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.